In this 101 lesson, we're going to talk about how to practice your scales. Now, hopefully you've already watched the 101 lesson called Keyboard Fundamentals, Intro to Scales. If you haven't watched that, then go ahead and pause this and go watch that video. That way you'll have what you need in order to move on into practicing your scales. If you have watched the video, then you have what you need, the foundations of the fingerings, practicing through. And if you've already started practicing, say, 1 octave up or 2 octaves up and down, then you'll have what you need to move on to actually practicing these scales and getting them, in your muscle memory and underneath your hands. So in this particular 101 lesson, we're going to start off easy, and we're going to start off with eighth notes. We're going to do 2 octaves up and down in parallel motion. And what that means is that both hands are moving in the same direction. There's another motion called contrary motion where your hands split out and go separate directions, but we're not going to do that. That's a little bit more advanced, and we'll cover that in a later lesson. But for this lesson, we're going to do 2 octaves up and down in parallel motion. We're going to start off at about 70 BPM, and it could look something like this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 off. So as you can see, I started off kind of low and I went up 2 octaves, came back down, both hands went in the same direction, and as you noticed, I didn't re-strike the top note when I reached it. I just started to immediately come back down, and that leaves you 2 beats when you hit the last note. So as you come down and you land on your last note, you'll hit it on beat 3. You'll be 3 and 4 and off. And this is just a good foundation to learning how to practice your scales. As we move forward and you get this underneath your belt, we'll move on to more complex rhythms like triplets, 16th note triplets, and so on, so that really gives you what you need and the tools kind of in your musical tool belt in order to be able to understand these scales. And once you get into a situation where you're having to improvise and do runs and things like that, it will really feel very effortless if you've practiced these scales. Now, the key to this is you have to practice it to a metronome. Just don't sit down and run your fingers up and down, because that's really not going to, that'll help as far as getting it into your muscle memory, but you want to practice to a metronome so that way when you get into a situation where you're practicing with a band, it will really come together. So that's what we're going to take a look at today. This is a continuation of the intro to scales, and this is how to practice your scales part 1, and we're starting with eighth notes. Be sure to click the link and head over to worshipartistry.com where you can sign up for a free account today. Every lesson comes with a music video where you can change different video angles, as well as step-by-step instruction for different sections of the song. We also have loop videos that you can practice along to, as well as sheet music, chord charts, guitar tabs, and a whole lot more. So what are you waiting for? Click the link and sign up for a free account today.